Good day, dear students. So, the topic of our discussion for today's lecture will be concrete construction. In general, what we know about concrete construction, that the concrete in construction is a structural material consisting of a hot, chemically inert particular substance known as aggregate, so usually sand, gravel, and actually bonded together by the cement and by the water. And reinforcement concrete. It is a concrete in which steel embedded in the such manner that two materials act together uh, for the main purpose is to resist all acting forces. So the reinforcing steel is rods, bars, or mesh, and all of them is absorbs the tensile, shear, and sometimes the compressive strength. Actually, play concrete does not easily withstand tensile and the shear strength caused by the wind, earthquakes, vibrations, and other forces, therefore unsuitable in most structural applications. So in reinforced concrete, so the tensile strength of steel and the compressive strength of concrete work together to allow the member to sustain this stress over considerable span. So the concrete constructions was invested and mostly began to use in the 19th century. In that time was revolutionized the construction industry, and the concrete became one of the world's most common building material. Construction application of concrete. So if we'll talking about the major uses of concrete, they will be so I will give you some examples and we'll discuss separately about each of these examples. For example, concrete dams. So in this case, characteristics of concrete such as higher strength and the unit weight make it more suitable material for the construction of dams. So dams are used to store the water and produce electricity. So the loads imposed on dam due to water pressure are very intense, which makes the concrete a suitable material for dam construction. Concrete are used in the residential buildings, construction of small buildings, villas, high-rise buildings. So all of them done by using concrete with the traditional or modern formwork as a method of construction of the frame, from the foundations to the slabs and columns, beams, overlappings, walls, and so on. So all of them main constructions are made from the concrete. Commercial buildings also use a concrete and makes it safer than using most other material. It mostly more economic than steel buildings and require less maintenance, but actually there are more time and more labor. So it's easy to control the heat transfer from inside to outside. So which in general reduce the energy consumed. Roads and driveways, so concrete streets, pavements, and driveways are more durable and strong than asphalt roads. So in our country, we also have a lot of examples with concrete roads, and they are actually show the more durability in comparison with asphalt roads. But actually, there are disadvantages. For example, in the cold time, when there are -6 degrees, it is really dangerous and the problem to go through the roads according to the ice on its surface. But it is minuses about using the concrete roads. So the long-lasting service time, less maintenance required for concrete roads, make it first choice on material for construction of the roads and driveways. Um, foundations, foundations for any type of the building, for low-story buildings, for many-story buildings, high-rise buildings, are usually constructed by using the reinforced cement concrete. So it's a durable, has a huge load-bearing capacity. Fences developed in the precast concrete industry, so the has improved industry of the concrete fence. So it's faster to produce in the small fence elements using the traditional method of construction fence, and moreover they are more beautiful and attractive uh, in the appearance. Concrete bridges, mm, so reinforced concrete strengths, durability, ductility, weather resistance, fire resistance, long-lasting life cycle. So makes the concrete the best solution for the bridge. And pressed stress concrete or post-stress concrete, self-compacted concrete. So different types that may apply in a bridge construction. So, and this diagram show us how we can divide all maybe monolithic or just concrete construction into the percentage. Um, and if there are need to buy or to pay attention for the right calculation analysis of the budget, we need to understand uh, for each direction how we spend the labor cost for material, how many percent, and so on. So if we'll deeply discuss about this diagram, we'll find that um, to construct the reinforced concrete or monolithic constructions, we need to use formwork. And so formwork is take the highest price of total concrete construction cost. It is about 60%. And all designs at the construction site, at the developed organization, as a design organization, try to find the best solutions for the formwork. And what we see that the labor and equipment took 39%, or material 24, labor and equipment 8%. It is for material of the concrete. Material for formwork took 10%, and material for the steel take 12%, and the labor 7%. So the most difficult part, it is according to labor cost, is the formwork installation. Near to it will be material for the concrete mass, and the less number of the labor and equipment and material took the reinforced steel. So this actually diagram show us in general show us general information of concrete construction, but not mostly all of them, because each construction should be calculated separately, but there are some general requirements for the all constructional processes, and of course they can be taken into account according to this diagram. What about application? So applications of concrete, they can be divided into the cast in place concrete, precast concrete, pre-stressed concrete, and architectural concrete. So each of these application types will be discussed by us separately in the next slides. But what about other uses of the concrete? So the concrete, we know that it is one of the important part of the building. It's if we'll compare with other, of course, the priority of this material will be more over than of wood, steel, masonry, and other construction materials. So concrete, once cast and cured, does not require any maintenance, can hold up against any weather conditions. Concrete is non-combustible or decaying material that makes it inert material, does not burn, mildew, or feed rot. So its superstructural integrity provides the added degree of protection from the severe weather as well as earthquakes. Concrete produced from available materials so leaves a small environmental footprint while still providing the higher level durability. It also can be shaped, so we can create the various shapes from freshly mixed concrete mass. Concrete floor can be stamped to create a very attractive surface, so it can admit natural light during the day and transmit the artificial light after work. It's durable and cost-effective, which a necessity for underground use. Cast-in-place concrete. So cast-in-place concrete, also called like monolithic concrete, one of the popular type of the concrete applied in the construction site. And cast-in-place concrete is technology of construction of building, so where walls and slabs of building are cast in the site in the formwork. So the differs from the precast concrete technology were slabs cast elsewhere and then brought the construction site and assembled. So it uses concrete slab for walls instead of bricks or wooden panels. Formwork um, is used for both walls and roof. So advantages of this technology are strengths of the building, um, insulation, versatility for different types of the building. So disadvantages, the one and maybe important disadvantages require of the higher labor, the time of hardening, and the big mass or self-mass of the construction. So cast-in-place concrete require formwork to define the shape of the future structure. So the most common materials used for formwork are plywood, so millet lumber, which contribute the construction wastes and the impact of timber harvest and processing. So a wooden formwork can be made from the salvage wood and typically can be disassembled and reused several times. The second most popular material for the formwork is the metal. So the metal distinguished from other formwork by its variants of its reuse. So it can be replaced many times and reused many times without any failures, without any cracks and breaks inside the metal slabs. Walls and the wall footings. So cast in place concrete walls are made with the ready mix concrete place into removable forms erected on the site. So historically, this has been one of the most common forms of the building basement walls. The same technologies used below can be repeated with the above grade to form the first floor and the upper levels at home. So this technology were done maybe more than 100 years ago. So and we see the benefit of the building home with concrete well before it was widely understood. So as the technology developed, so improvements in our forming system and the insulation material increased, and ease and appeal of using removable forms for single family construction, for example. So and they are show the good results. So the systems are really strong. Traditional finishes can be applied to interior and exterior faces. So buildings looks similar to the frame construction. Also, the walls are usually thicker. So they are thicker according to decreasing their own weight of construction. And the insulation properties, so thermal conductivity is done by using the right thickness of installation isolation layer. So by right isolation. Um, if we will talk about advantages of it and some factors, some features of the custom place concrete, we need to say that custom place concrete provide the benefits to builders and the buildings owners, um, like strong walls, um, safety, and disaster resistance. So disaster, I mean some natural disasters like um, earthquake, like some um, fires, blows, and so on. Insect resistance, that's also one of the important things. For example, in a wooden construction, the insect resistance is in the not so high level. Sound blocking ability, it can protect from the sound penetration. So for insulated system, energy efficiency and result cost savings. So and the features for contractors and the builders, like familiarity, like uh, expand business include more than basements, and uses then effective building technology. So experience in the cast in place concrete has been used for foundation walls in the area of the country. So uh, since I told you more than 100 years ago, um, it's a generally a very durable material which are formed and cast into almost configurations for wall footings and foundations. So uh, its ability to support and resist compressive loads far exceed what it can support to um, resist on tension. So, if concrete is used in construction where tension stresses will develop beyond what the concrete alone can safety resist, the steel reinforcing bars installed to take up the tension stresses. What about shapes? So in cast in place columns and walls, in general can be various shapes. But actually there are the most popular types, and the shapes are often used in the cast in place construction, and they are rectangular, square, circle. So according to the simplicity of the installation, according to the for example, circle for attractive view for design or architectural design purposes, and the rectangular and the square shows the good bearing capacity characteristics results. That's why they are often or more often used in the construction. Floor and roofs. So the construction method of cast in place concrete hollow building roof um, of the present invention belongs to a kind of construction method of building of superstructure. So specifically played the effects of the inner template of cast in place concrete by the prepared hollow filling places. So it's concrete of significantly finding time, elevate floor dead weight, increase the distance of reinforcing bar to cross sectional axis. So thereby really increase the bending rigidity of the floor. So full excavate the mechanical property of reinforcing bars, concrete material. So reduce reinforcing bar and the concrete containing material made superstructure have some advantages that rigidity is large and the intensity is high. So use walking measure to carry out anti-translation reinforcing to whole filling piece. Anti-floating is reinforced, and the hollow filling so piece globally is strengthened and has uh, greatly improved the ability of opposing concrete buoyancy. So it has strengthened concrete construction control, thereby um, the quality of the floors and roofs in building cover all the elements. Flat slabs, flat slab. So a flat plane is a two-way system, usually supported mm, directly on the columns or load-bearing walls. So the main feature of the flat plate floor, uh, mm, it is uniform uniform thickness with the flat soffit, which requires a simply formwork and it is easy to construct. So the floor allows great flexibility for locating horizontal surfaces above the suspended ceilings or um, a flat plate with the pressing tendons, the result of the longer span and the thinner slabs. The advantages is that typically has the lowest floor-to-floor cycle time of the cast and suit options. So due to the most simplified formwork and reinforcement detailing, so no beams underfloor surfaces. So minimum structural depths, reduce floor-to-floor height, and the disadvantages is the long-term deflection may be a controlling factor, may not be suitable for heavy works, for heavy loadings, for heavy forces. So a higher concentration of reinforcement around the columns in order to ensure the slabs has adequate shear capacity. So two-way slabs. Um, Two-way slabs drop panels formed by thickening the bottom of slab around the columns, increase the shear capacity, the stiffness of the slab along the thinner slabs to be used. So a flat slabs with pre-stressing tendons, so resulting in longer spans and thinner slabs. So these slabs actually are economical in span up to 14 meters square panels. So thickness, governing in deflection, shear around columns, and the shear in the ribs. Most of all, it's used in the car parks. It's used in the office buildings, roofing. The main disadvantages, it is higher formwork cost than for other slab system, slightly greater floor thickness, slow floor-to-floor cycle, and requires a square or rectangular columns and the grid arrangement. So here you can find information about the pumping of the concrete. So pumping is a necessary processes which are done to increase the quality of the fresh concrete, but there are other variants to use self-compacted concrete. So using the self-compacted concrete is save the time of construction and save the expenses for the spending workers, because we need additional worker person will compact the just a fresh concrete mix located into the forms. And we see the form of square columns and rectangular columns. So in this slide, we see the floor slab with the integrated beams, so cross-sectional beams and longitudinal beams. So these beams are also called like a joists. So joists are in general supported by the general beam, the beam by its two ends supported by the interior or exterior columns. The main application of this slabs is the public buildings, the industrial buildings with big spans. According to the higher bearing capacity of this slabs, they actually can be applied not only in the cast in place construction but also in the prefabricated construction. Here is the waffle slab. I told about the advantages and disadvantages of this slab. So the most important disadvantage is that it requires a special formwork and labor cost to install the formwork under this slab. But in the same time, the advantages like increasing shear integrity, shear strength for